Welcome, gents. Have you ever wondered why some people cling to relationships, jobs, or situations long after they stop serving them, while others seem to let go effortlessly and move forward? Sigma males operate on a completely different level when it comes to this. They burn bridges not out of anger, spite, or a need to punish, but as a deliberate act of self-preservation and clarity. They understand that holding on to what drains them keeps them from growing, achieving, and living life on their own terms. Most people spend their lives seeking approval. They bend themselves to fit expectations, hoping to be recognized, liked, or praised. They fear losing connection, even when that connection costs them peace, focus, and authenticity. Sigma males see through this cycle. They know that validation is fleeting and unreliable. What matters is not whether others approve, but whether they are honoring themselves and their principles. Burning a bridge for a Sigma male is not a loss. It is a declaration of independence. It is a conscious choice to remove distractions, negativity, and energy drains from their path. By doing this, they make room for what truly matters: growth, opportunity, and meaningful connections that align with their values. This approach takes courage and self-awareness, but it also sets them apart. Sigma males show us that strength is not in clinging to approval or waiting for recognition. Strength is in knowing when to release what no longer serves you and moving forward with confidence, clarity, and purpose. It is a lesson in valuing yourself above all else and creating a life that commands respect naturally. Let's get started, gents. Number 1. They burn bridges not out of anger, but as a deliberate act of self-preservation and clarity. For a Sigma male, walking away is never a careless move. It is a conscious decision, often made after long observation and quiet reflection. Where many people would rather bend, compromise, and beg to keep ties alive, Sigma males see that forcing connections only creates unnecessary weight. Burning the bridge is their way of removing that weight, making space for peace of mind. Think about how often people hold on to relationships that no longer feel right. It could be a friendship that has turned one-sided, where you are always the one giving and never receiving. It could be family members who constantly drain you with guilt and manipulation. It could even be a workplace where you're praised only when you sacrifice your well-being. Most people convince themselves to stay, hoping that validation will make the pain worthwhile. Sigma males, however, cut through the illusion. They do not wait for others to recognize their value, they know their own. For them, burning bridges is like clearing a path through a thick forest. The overgrown branches represent expectations, manipulations, and demands that choke freedom. By setting fire to the path behind them, they make sure there is no going back. This gives them clarity because there is no temptation to return to what already proved unhealthy. In everyday life, this might look like refusing to keep entertaining a toxic friendship just because of history. It might look like leaving a job where loyalty is taken for granted. It might even mean setting firm boundaries with people who only show up when they need something. To outsiders, this may appear cold, but in truth it is a bold form of self-respect. Sigma males show us that letting go is not destruction, it is choosing to protect your energy and protect your peace. They remind us that it is better to stand alone in clarity than to stay surrounded by people who blur your vision. Burning bridges is not about losing others, it is about gaining yourself. And number 2, they know that burning a bridge is often a declaration of independence, not a failure of relationship. For Sigma males, ending a connection is rarely about spite. It is about drawing a clear line between what serves their growth and what holds them back. They do not see walking away as defeat. Instead, they see it as reclaiming their direction, their peace, and their time. Think of how many people remain tied to friendships or circles that no longer feel right simply because they fear what others might say. Imagine someone staying in a draining friendship just to avoid being labeled disloyal. Most people keep feeding those ties, hoping to be acknowledged or praised for staying. Sigma males operate differently. If the bridge does not lead to a place worth traveling, they let it burn without hesitation. Consider a workplace where the effort is never appreciated unless you sacrifice your health. Many stay because leaving feels like failure, but a Sigma male knows the real failure is staying trapped. By burning that bridge, he declares that his well-being cannot be negotiated. The same applies to relationships built on manipulation. Instead of begging for validation, he sees the manipulation for what it is and refuses to keep playing along. Burning bridges is also a way of cutting noise. It removes the endless back and forth of trying to please people who will never be satisfied. Once the bridge is gone, the mind is free. There is no temptation to return, no cycle of guilt pulling him back, only the clarity to move forward without baggage. To outsiders, this level of independence may look harsh, but in reality it is a deeper form of honesty. Sigma males understand that you cannot grow tall if you keep watering dead plants. By burning a bridge, they are not rejecting connection altogether. They are choosing healthier soil to plant their energy. In everyday life, this choice is a reminder to all of us. Sometimes strength is not in holding on. Sometimes strength is in letting go, even when it feels uncomfortable. Burning bridges is not about destroying relationships. It is about declaring that your freedom matters more than borrowed approval. Number 3. Sigma males sense when someone's presence in their life becomes a shadow on their growth. They have a sharp awareness that tells them when a connection has shifted from being supportive to being draining. To many people, stepping away feels harsh, but for a Sigma male, it is an act of protection. He understands that keeping someone who limits his progress is like carrying unnecessary weight during a climb. The heavier the load, the slower the journey. Think about how often people cling to relationships that quietly chip away at their energy. A friend who always takes but never gives back. A partner who thrives on control instead of encouragement. A workplace where loyalty is demanded, but appreciation is rarely shown. Most people endure these bonds because they fear being alone or because they crave validation. Sigma males operate differently. They know that if a connection turns into a shadow, it no longer belongs in their path. It is not that they reject people altogether or lack empathy. They care, but they care enough about themselves to protect their space. When they notice that someone has turned into a constant weight, they choose distance over compromise. This might look like stepping away from a friendship that only exists out of convenience, or leaving a relationship that only drains but never builds. The choice to walk away is not made in bitterness, it comes from clarity. A Sigma male knows that growth cannot happen in a place where energy is constantly leaking. By cutting ties with what no longer serves him, he creates room for new experiences and connections that are genuine. His way of life is a reminder that strength is not measured by how much you can endure. True strength lies in knowing when something has turned into a shadow and having the courage to step into the light on your own. Sometimes the most powerful decision a Sigma male makes is to burn the bridge that blocks his growth. Number 4. Unlike those who beg for attention, Sigma males cultivate silence as a tool of influence. They understand that not every moment needs to be filled with words and not every opinion deserves to be shared. Their silence is not weakness, nor is it shyness. It is a deliberate choice, a way of controlling what energy they give to the world. While others scramble to be noticed, a Sigma male allows his actions, his presence, and his results to do the speaking. Think about everyday life. In a group setting, there are usually people who dominate the conversation, talking over others to make sure they are heard. Then there is the Sigma male who sits back and observes. He listens more than he speaks, gathering details others overlook. Later, when he finally does share his thoughts, people stop and pay attention because his words are never wasted. His silence builds weight around what he eventually says. This ability shows up in personal relationships too, where others might argue endlessly to prove a point. A Sigma male chooses silence to let the truth reveal itself. Instead of getting trapped in circles of meaningless debate, he steps back and lets time expose what words cannot. His silence often unsettles people because it cannot be controlled or manipulated. It forces others to reflect on themselves. Even in workplaces, this trait stands out. Instead of begging for recognition, Sigma males let their work shine. Their silence communicates confidence because it shows they do not need constant praise to know their value. When they finally speak up, their contribution carries authority because it is backed by thought and restraint. For them, silence is not emptiness. It is a powerful space where clarity lives. It is where they think, where they plan, and where they find strength. Unlike those who beg to be heard, Sigma males understand that silence can be louder than noise. Their quiet confidence leaves a mark without ever demanding attention. And that is what makes their influence so unshakable. Number 5, they release people not to punish, but to create space for opportunities that actually matter. For Sigma males, letting go of someone is not an act of bitterness. It is not about proving a point or teaching anyone a lesson. It is about clearing the noise so they can stay true to their path. They understand that carrying the wrong people slows down progress, and they would rather make room for growth than stay tied to relationships that drain them. Think of how many times in life people hold on to connections out of guilt or habit. A friend who only calls when they are in need. A relationship that feels more like a duty than a bond. A circle that keeps pulling you into drama rather than supporting your growth. Most people remain in these situations because they fear being alone or they want to be seen as loyal. Sigma males look at it differently. They know loyalty loses meaning when it is tied to the wrong people. In everyday life, this looks like walking away from a friendship that has become one-sided, or refusing to stay in a workplace where effort is overlooked. It could even mean setting boundaries with family members who drain rather than uplift. To outsiders, this decision might look cold, but to the Sigma male, it is simply practical. By letting go, he is not creating emptiness, he is creating space for something real. They view relationships like soil for planting. If the soil is dry and lifeless, no seed will grow no matter how hard you try. Instead of wasting years trying to force growth in barren ground, Sigma males walk away and find richer soil. In doing so, they give themselves the chance to build meaningful bonds, pursue opportunities that inspire them, and create a life aligned with their values. Their actions remind us that letting go is not always loss. Sometimes it is the beginning of something far greater. Sigma males teach us that true strength is not in holding on tightly, but in releasing what no longer adds value so that life can bring in what truly matters. Number 6, they value authenticity over acceptance, even if it means standing alone. Sigma males would rather live in truth than surround themselves with people who only clap when they fit into expectations. For them, authenticity is not just about being honest with others, it is about being honest with themselves. They know that bending who they are just to be liked is the quickest way to lose themselves, and that is a price they will never pay. In everyday life, this shows up in small but powerful ways. At work, while others go along with the group to look agreeable, a Sigma male will voice his real thoughts even if it sets him apart. In friendships, he refuses to play roles that are expected of him just to keep the peace. If a conversation demands pretending, he would rather stay silent than betray what he truly feels. In relationships, he does not fake interest or affection. He knows that real bonds can only grow where honesty is present. This can be uncomfortable for people around him because society often rewards conformity. Many believe acceptance is the safest path, even if it means putting on masks. But the Sigma male is willing to walk away from circles where he cannot be himself. He would rather stand alone in truth than sit in a crowd built on lies. Take the example of a friend group where gossip is the main currency. Most people will stay silent or even join in just to be included. A Sigma male will remove himself from the noise because he refuses to lower his standards for approval. That decision may cost him popularity, but it keeps his integrity intact. What makes this mindset powerful is the freedom it creates. When you live authentically, you no longer worry about losing acceptance because you are no longer chasing it. Sigma males show us that the courage to be real is far more valuable than the comfort of being liked. Their lives remind us that standing alone with integrity will always be stronger than standing with many in pretense. And that is why authenticity is their greatest weapon. Number 7, burning bridges is their way of eliminating distraction and toxicity in one precise motion. For Sigma males, this act is never about drama or a reckless need to prove something. It is a deliberate decision that clears the air and removes obstacles that slow their growth. They know that holding on to toxic ties only invites unnecessary noise into their lives. And for them, peace is far more valuable than false connection. Think of it like cleaning out a cluttered room. Most people pile up objects they no longer need, convincing themselves that one day they might use them again. But the clutter grows, and the space becomes suffocating. Sigma males look at relationships the same way. If someone has become a constant source of negativity, disrespect, or distraction, they remove that connection completely. By burning the bridge, they make sure there is no going back to the same chaos. In everyday life, this could mean stepping away from a longtime friend who only calls when they need money or favors. It could mean ending ties with a colleague who thrives on gossip and backstabbing. It might even mean setting boundaries with family members who drain more than they support. Where others might hesitate, afraid of judgment or guilt, Sigma males act with clarity. They know that their time and energy are too valuable to waste on people who bring nothing but confusion. This approach unsettles others because most people are used to clinging, even when situations turn toxic. But Sigma males see things differently. They believe that by burning a bridge, they are not losing people, they are gaining space. That space becomes an opening for better opportunities, stronger relationships, and deeper peace. The beauty of their method is in its precision. There is no half-step, no lingering in indecision. Once the bridge is gone, so is the temptation to return to old patterns. Sigma males remind us that sometimes the cleanest way to move forward is to cut ties completely. By eliminating distraction and toxicity in one motion, they free themselves to focus fully on the life they are building. Number 8. They understand that some people are not meant to be companions, but lessons in disguise. Sigma males carry this awareness with them in every stage of life. They know that not everyone who crosses their path is supposed to stay, and not every connection is meant to last forever. Instead of clinging to people out of habit or fear, they see certain encounters as opportunities to learn, grow, and move forward with deeper clarity. Think about it in everyday life. You may have had a friend who was fun in the beginning, but later showed you what betrayal feels like. That person may not have been meant to stay in your life long term, but they taught you the value of trust and the importance of boundaries. A Sigma male sees such experiences not as wasted time, but as valuable lessons that sharpen his instincts. He learns who to open up to, who to keep at a distance, and when to walk away. In relationships, this perspective is just as powerful. Instead of drowning in regret after a painful breakup, Sigma males treat it as a class life forced them to take. They study the lesson, whether it is about self-respect, patience, or recognizing red flags early. They do not carry bitterness because they understand that every disappointment can also be a form of preparation for something better. At work, the same principle applies. A difficult boss or toxic colleague is not just an obstacle. To the Sigma male, it is a lesson in resilience, self-control, and the art of choosing battles wisely. While others get stuck complaining about unfairness, he extracts what he can learn and then decides whether to stay or move on. This mindset is what sets him apart. He does not view life through the lens of constant loss or betrayal. Instead, he sees people as chapters. Some chapters bring joy, others bring pain, but all of them shape the story. By treating people as lessons in disguise, Sigma males avoid getting trapped in bitterness and keep moving forward wiser, sharper, and stronger. That is how they turn what could have been scars into stepping stones. Number 9. Sigma males refuse to negotiate their principles for temporary validation. They understand that principles are not decorations you show off when convenient, but the backbone that keeps your life steady. For them, compromising their values just to be liked or approved by others is the fastest way to lose themselves. They would rather walk away empty-handed than stay in a place that forces them to betray what they stand for. In everyday life, you see this clearly. Imagine a workplace where everyone cuts corners just to meet deadlines. Most people go along with it to keep their jobs safe or to avoid conflict. A Sigma male, however, will not bend his principles for the sake of fitting in. He would rather take the harder road and protect his integrity than earn quick praise for something dishonest. His self-respect matters more than applause that fades as soon as the spotlight shifts. The same applies in relationships. A Sigma male will not stay quiet about his values just to keep the peace or to be seen as agreeable. If his boundaries are not respected, he would rather end the connection than settle for surface-level approval. This does not mean he is inflexible or arrogant. It means he knows that temporary validation cannot replace the lasting strength of staying true to himself. Even in friendships, this trait shows. Picture a group that thrives on gossip. Many will join in just to feel included, even if it makes them uncomfortable. The Sigma male would rather sit in silence or walk away than stain his principles for cheap belonging. His loyalty is to his character, not to the shifting approval of others. What makes this mindset powerful is the freedom it creates. By refusing to trade principles for temporary comfort, Sigma males move through life with a clear conscience. They may stand alone at times, but they stand tall, unshaken, and unbought. Their example is a reminder that real strength comes from being anchored in truth, not from chasing fleeting applause. And in that quiet refusal lies a form of influence that cannot be copied. Number 10, they don't wait for apologies or recognition. They move forward, leaving echoes of their strength behind. Sigma males live with the understanding that life is too short to wait for people to admit their mistakes or to clap for your efforts. They know that if you stand still hoping for closure or applause, you end up wasting time that could be spent building something greater. Think about how often people get stuck waiting. A friend betrays them, and they wait years for an apology that never comes. A workplace undervalues them, and they keep hanging on, hoping someone finally says thank you. A relationship ends badly, and they spend months hoping the other person will realize what they lost. Sigma males see the trap in this cycle. They refuse to hand their power to someone else's recognition. Instead, they close the chapter themselves and step into the next one without looking back. In everyday life, this could mean leaving a job that constantly overlooks their efforts and building something of their own, rather than waiting for promotion or validation. It could mean walking away from a one-sided friendship without bitterness, not because they do not care, but because they know their time is better spent with people who actually value them. Even in family dynamics where grudges can last for years, a Sigma male does not sit around hoping for the perfect apology. He decides for himself when it is time to let go and move forward. This is what makes them so unshakable. They are not weighed down by unfinished business or by the need to be seen as right. Their strength leaves an echo because people eventually notice what they lost. But by then, the Sigma male has already moved so far ahead that recognition no longer matters. Their way of living teaches us something powerful. Closure does not always come from others. Sometimes closure is a decision you make for yourself. Sigma males remind us that the real victory is not in forcing people to admit your worth, but in proving it silently by the life you build after you walk away. Number 11, every bridge they burn is a statement of clarity and uncompromised self-worth. For a Sigma male, letting go of certain connections is not an act of bitterness, it is an act of freedom. When he chooses to cut ties, it is never done in a fit of anger or because he wants to prove a point. It is done with precision, like someone cleaning out a closet that has been filled with clutter for far too long. He knows that not every path is worth revisiting, and not every person deserves a seat in the next chapter of his life. Think about how often people hold on to relationships, jobs, or friendships that no longer serve them, just because they fear how others might view them if they walk away. A Sigma male does not entertain that fear. For him, the act of burning a bridge is a declaration that he values himself enough not to carry dead weight. Imagine someone working tirelessly at a company that consistently underpays and overlooks them, yet they keep waiting for recognition. A Sigma male would not stay stuck there. By leaving, even if it shocks others, he makes it clear that his time, talent, and energy are worth far more than being underappreciated. The same goes for personal relationships. If trust is broken repeatedly, a Sigma male does not cling to the hope of change. His decision to walk away says more than any long explanation ever could. It is his way of telling the world and himself that he will never bargain his peace of mind just to keep the peace with someone else. This is why his actions leave such a lasting impression. When he burns a bridge, people may call it harsh at first, but with time they realize it was clarity in its purest form. He does not settle for half respect or half loyalty. Every decision to cut ties is a reminder that his worth is not negotiable. And in that uncompromising stance, he builds a life that is lighter, stronger, and completely his own. Number 12, they see the desperation of others for approval as a reflection of what they will never become. A Sigma male has no interest in being trapped in the exhausting cycle of pleasing people. He watches how some individuals bend over backward just to be noticed, how they adjust their opinions to fit the crowd, and how they lose themselves trying to secure a nod of approval from others. To him, that kind of desperation is not just unnecessary, it is a warning sign of what happens when you hand over your self-worth to the world. Picture a workplace where one employee is always volunteering for extra tasks, not because they believe in the work, but because they crave praise from the boss. They laugh at jokes they do not find funny, stay late even when it is not required, and secretly hope to be seen as indispensable. A Sigma male may also work hard, but his effort is fueled by his own standards, not by the hope that someone else will validate him. He finds it draining to chase compliments because he knows recognition that is begged for loses its meaning. The same shows up in friendships. You might notice people constantly fishing for reassurance, asking if they are liked, if they are doing enough, if they measure up. A Sigma male does not play that game. He values genuine connection, but he refuses to shape himself into something unnatural just to be accepted. For him, approval that requires you to shrink or twist who you are is nothing more than a shallow bargain. When he sees others desperately seeking validation, it sharpens his resolve to stand firm in who he is. He is not dismissive of people, but he understands that chasing acceptance is a trap that leaves you running in circles. His quiet refusal to play along speaks volumes. It reminds those watching that strength does not come from being celebrated by everyone. It comes from having the courage to live in a way where approval, if it comes, is simply a byproduct, not the goal. And in that stance, he proves that his value was never up for negotiation. Number 13. Their focus is not on pleasing the crowd, but on building their empire, mind, and peace. Sigma males understand that life is too valuable to waste chasing approval that will never satisfy. While most people are caught up in trying to fit in, get noticed, or earn praise, a Sigma male channels his energy into what truly matters to him. He knows that trying to please everyone is a full-time job with no reward, so he chooses instead to invest in himself, his goals, and his inner calm. Think about everyday life. At work, many people scramble to be liked by the boss or to impress colleagues with small talk and forced enthusiasm. They chase compliments and recognition instead of focusing on skill, results, and learning. A Sigma male approaches it differently. He works with quiet precision. He studies, he practices, and he performs not to be applauded, but to grow and to build his competence. When his efforts are noticed, it is a natural consequence, not the goal. The same mindset shows up in personal growth. While some people constantly compare themselves to others, a Sigma male measures his progress by his own standards. He reads, reflects, and develops habits that strengthen his mind, body, and character. Social validation has no power over him because his approval comes from within. Even in relationships, he avoids trying to please or entertain just to be liked. He forms connections based on honesty, respect, and alignment with his values. If a person cannot meet him there, he does not bend or chase them. Instead, he focuses on surrounding himself with people who enhance his life rather than drain it. In every decision, he asks one question: does this contribute to my growth, my peace, or my vision? If the answer is no, it is not worth his attention. That is why Sigma males often seem untouchable. They are not distracted by gossip, trends, or fleeting approval. Their life is a carefully constructed space where every move is intentional. Their empire is not just external success, it is the mastery of their mind, the protection of their peace, and the relentless pursuit of purpose. And in that, they teach a lesson few truly understand. Real power comes from focusing on what matters, not on who applauds. In final words, have you ever wondered why some people keep holding on to connections that weigh them down while others simply move forward with quiet strength? Sigma males teach us a powerful lesson about this. They burn bridges not out of anger or revenge, but as a conscious choice to protect their peace, their growth, and their energy. While the world often clings to approval, chasing recognition at every turn, Sigma males understand that true power lies in clarity, self-respect, and uncompromised focus. In life, there will always be people who drain you, situations that distract you, and relationships that no longer serve your journey. It is tempting to stay, hoping for apologies, validation, or change. But a Sigma male shows us that waiting for recognition that may never come is a trap. Walking away from what does not align with your values is not loss. It is strength. It is a declaration that your time and energy are too precious to be spent on anything less than what truly matters. This is not about being harsh or unkind. It is about choosing yourself with unapologetic precision. It is about creating space for opportunities, people, and experiences that lift you rather than weigh you down. Every bridge burned is a step toward clarity. Every decision to release a connection is a commitment to growth. And over time, the life you build in that freedom becomes your statement to the world. So take courage from this. Do not be afraid to let go of what no longer serves you. Trust that closing the wrong doors is the only way to open the right ones. Stand firm in your principles and in your worth. Your path will not always be crowded, but it will be purposeful, strong, and uniquely yours. Remember that real strength is not in holding on. It is in knowing when to release, move forward, and leave echoes of your power behind. Thank you for watching, gents, and God bless you.